Mbote, yenge, yenge. All praises to Tata nZambi, Kokisi, Mbote. Welcome. Luciemi. All praises, Makanda. Family, Wakanda. I'm coming with another. I don't know why this is jumpy. I'm here with another message. Hope everybody's doing well. This last message I did, I don't know. I had interactions with several people about it. Not sure how anyone else might have taken it. I know it resonated in the other spiritual world quite a bit. And this is the one that they don't want to hear today. And I'm sure it's going to bring a lot of skeptics to this and question issues for those. But I'm not one of these people that, as everybody knows in my ministry, I'm not here to, cause a lot of strife or any, arguments about people's feelings about what they do. I learned a long time ago from my mother that you learn a lot about how people are by how they treat you. And also that if people talk about things that you know are true, then you just let it go. And so, I'm not, I have love for all our brothers and sisters that's seeking the knowledge and the truth of the Most High. And I honor everyone that I've learned from that has taught many things about things that we never knew. I honor those who continue to do the Most High's work always. And, I will be the first to admit that not everything is what everybody wants to hear. I may not always have it completely accurate, but I do my best to discern what I know based upon the things that I'm told, based upon the knowledge that I receive until the next phase of what will happen. Many people in the land know many things, which is good. There's those that you can accept, and there's those that you can reject. Eat the meat, spit out the bones. It's about what you know you're eating and what you know you're spitting out. Okay. The next next thing that I'm doing is I have been given the green light to bring out more things that I was told to keep my mouth shut about, because the Most High, Tata nZambi, if it's one thing that I've learned, and I'm glad for this with our Father, is that humility is one thing He expects. And when you choose to lack humility, He will do His part to embarrass those who use pride and who use arrogance and who use stiff-neckedness and all others, and ignorance to what He has done that many people aren't even aware of. I've been truly astounded and shocked by many of the things that have been given to me to reveal to people. And I don't reveal everything because, for one, this channel needs to be in check for a while, assuming that it continues to be so, because there's things that I could say that could easily get me strikes and have issues with a lot of people, but I don't say those yet. and that stuff will soon come out on its own anyway. So I'm not worried about it. And the other part is that, you know, not everybody will always receive it the way they should. You know, one of the things that I've actually come to see in this awakening, and this is part of the reason why um, I've done myself to really observe things from a distance now, is because, you know, Isaiah Kuswa, when he talked about not giving things that are righteous and holy to people that don't deserve it, I've now seen the effects of what happens, and we've experienced this as a people over time. What happens when you disobey that mindset, and so that's part of the reason why we see many people uh, who receive knowledge, receive understanding, but then they abuse it and they use it for purposes that it was never intended to do, because not everybody is paying attention. And this is why I know many people got distracted on purpose so that others can sneak in and get information so they could use it for the wrong reasons. And this is something that hasn't been just going on in these last 3 or 4 or 5 years or 10 years. This is something that actually was going on even during the time of Mayamona and Kimbangu and others. This was going on even during the time of Isaiah, and you know, this is even going on in the days before Noah, Noka with Hanoka. And so many people have received knowledge, but they're using it for destructive purposes, and they will soon be exposed for who they are. And that's why this next phase will really open some people's eyes about what the Most High was prepared for long ago, and some things that he has done through what I've been shown to check to see whose heart is in the right place and whose heart isn't. Because I know my walk is still a work in progress, and a lot of it has to do with not having access to the proper structure of things yet. Which is Mayamona Simon Toko said the Most High would be bringing back into balance. But you know, I just hope that people will continue to absorb the things that is being revealed. That the Mwanda, Mavala, the Holy Spirit, when I say the Most High, when Tata nZambi says he brings strong delusions on people, boy, does he ever mean it. And so, you know, I let people believe what they think, but at some point, the Most High is going to expose a lot of things that he has done for people who, you know, that I know people will say the Most High, the Most High, the Most High. And if it's one thing that I'm learning is that there's things that people say the Most High and the Most High didn't say it. And that's why, you know, one of our brothers in this awakening, he said that that's something that you have to pay attention what visions come to you and who it's coming from and what voice is speaking to you and what voice is not speaking to you. And also what voice could be speaking to you could be based upon the condition that you're in mentally at the time that you think you're receiving revelation. And this is what happened that I'm going to explain when Mayamona was in prison. There are some things that revealed to me. I actually the book I read, and some other people were talking about this, but there was more, and I'm going to talk about that based upon there were things that Isaiah was very well aware of, Wa Kongo Yisu, that was going to get corrupted the whole time. Okay, and so there were things there were actions that were taken that were never. There were actions that were taken as I come more into Revelation that many people were never meant to know because of the circumstances of the times. Okay, sorry. Stay 30. So, okay, sorry about the spot there. So I forgot about this circle. All right. So I'm gonna start the music today. Again, I don't have the copyright. I don't own the lyrics. Nothing is for redistribution for profit of any kind. If you can't hear it, once again, I will put it in because it's nighttime and it's gonna be low. And you can sing it once again. I have put it on there before. And like I said, I hope that you wikichila, listen. I'll give all praises to Tanzania once again. And this is going to be some revelations that may shock some people because it's not supposed to be something that you should know technically while you're physically living. But that's just the way the Most High did it. And I didn't know that I played a significant part in something that he did. And because of what the Most High knew. And so all praises to nZambi. We're going to begin this message that came from Yesiah. He said, I don't have to write it down. It's just to remember what I was showing. So I'll explain it to you. But it ought to be an awakening to many people that how your ancestors and those who are above you can bring judgments and how they can also step in on your behalf. And it works towards your benefit, but at the same time, it can also work against you. But we shall. I will tell you about it here soon. All right, Ingita. Wana kumbase, imana msaniseto. Welcome, Ukisi Ambote, to the Pemba Kalunga, Yenge Kalunga, na Kongo, Tata nZambi and Pungu. Matona Masakla for once again to come before you humbly, Father, in your court, that they would all come down. Tata nZambi Pungu, we beseech you wisdom and knowledge that the Mandagala will bring. nKusu Kongo, Yisu will be in the midst. There's a Mekima Kongo, Asalama Maleki Kongo will be in the midst. And that all of the righteous of Nzoli, peace, peace, salama, salama, to Yenge Palanku, Kalunga. And all of it, honor you all the way down to the righteous, for Bana, Tata Adama, Mama Eva, Yisole, Ya Kongo, and also to those that have been received in the Kalunga, Yenge Yengeta. I like that beat, like a Caribbean, like back home boy. Hallelujah, hallelujah. And I call hallelujah, hallelujah, my yes way. Hallelujah, hallelujah, my yes way. Cometa nZambi Wa Kongo. Awesome. Venga. Come Tata nZambi con Yisu. Venga. Simila. Come Tata nZambi come veniamo con Yas. Simila. Boom. Wa Kongo, Yisu. nZambi mpungo, haleluya. Bayeti nkombo, haleluya. Haleluya. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Makanda. Mbote, family. All praises. So, uh, obviously, there's been a major event that has transpired recently. Um, an inkling that this was going to start to become bigger, because now um, much of the demonic things that were in the dark, even when you see this, some things being perpetrated in the churches. I actually watched this brother's video, and they took it down. He said because and I know it's partly because he's still not quite where he should be, because I know how you get I know why. Fortunately for me, they haven't been able to do anything about my stuff yet, because how you identify is crucial and how you speak is crucial. You have to be smart with your words. But what I will say is there's an obvious agenda. There was an assassination, and it happened in Uganda. I happen to understand why these type of things continue to happen. It's because there's an agenda against the Bana Betu, the Wa Kongo people, the nZambi, also the people who are in covenants with the Most High. I unfortunately witnessed a vicious attack that's being perpetrated on our own people by many people who are dealing with a lot of anger and hatred. And I've seen where we're having a lot of issues with people who are just not there. They're losing their minds. And also uh, dealing with many mental problems because of this whole agenda that was put into play, especially in the inner cities. And it's starting to boil over, as we know, even in the land, because there's a new reality unfolding that people don't know. And it comes from the concept of you've been oppressed physically and mentally in many different aspects. And now when those mental chains start to drop, it starts to clear up your understanding as to why things are happening. Not everybody sees it, not everybody will, okay? But that's why the Most High put in his contingencies uh, that people don't even know for a lot of this stuff that's going to happen. Um, I'm going to read the scripture and get into it. That kind of puts a lot of what I want to say in perspective. I'm going to go back to the book of Judas. And in this book, it talks about how Isaiah said, I went to the future. So I know that there are going to be many people that will misuse us in order to sacrifice to idols. Okay. And he understood who these perpetrators would be that would be involved in this. He even went as far as to prepare. He's already prepared everything. We're just catching up to the reality of that. And he also put things into play for the expectation that there would be misguidance of many people, and also, excuse me, and showing us, who we really are and who we really should be, and to put things into proper perspective. As Bana Betu sort of in the spiritual concept is that we must always try to conduct ourselves in a way that's pleasing to the Most High, do the best we can, and do our best to fight the wickedness of this earth, and do our best to help those who are in need of help and pray for one another. Prayer is always good. to move Tata nZambi's heart for his people and for the chosen. People keep thinking that this is all about pushing an agenda of who race or whatever. I've said it many times, but you choose not to believe me. This is a concept that came from the fallen ones themselves because they're well aware of the history of the human beings. They know you better than you know about yourself, and that's why they know how to trick you better than you think you know. And that's the concept as I'm going to deal with today as to how they masquerade, how their machinations work on you, and how they played many people, and how they've actually set people up to not even recognize that they are actually working the opposite than what they think. And that's why, some good advice was given to me to pray to reveal to people who are teaching to pray and see who's involved with many things and to get clarification as to what people are supposed to be doing versus what they're not. And fortunately for myself, because I didn't realize I was part of something that I didn't even know. This revelation was the Most High granted my prayer, and this is why I was able to get the opportunity to uh, be taught by Yesaya himself, nKusu Wa Kongo. He showed me many different things about the things that are going on, what's coming, uh, what people can anticipate as far as themselves and others, who's really been uh, doing the Most High's work, who's really an imposter. It's funny because when you see these spirits, boy, it's like, oh man, it's like I can't believe that I thought that was a person, and that's kind of why they, the mistake that people make about the fallen angels is they can choose to be any race. They don't have to be nothing about white or black or Asian or whatever. They can choose to look like anybody. And that's always how they've been able to infiltrate many different places. And their lying signs and wonders can look so much like what the Most High does. It's not even funny. And they know how to use tactics to bring your guard down. And this is why the world has been taught education and indoctrination and all kind of different things that they should have never been learning because uh, they're very persuasive in the upper realms of what they do, and they're very hard to discern once you believe something without asking. That's why I've learned ask, seek, find the nZambi, and get clarification. Who's speaking to me? Who's teaching me? Who's involved with this? What's going on? What person is telling me this? Is this accurate? Is it true? Did you send this person? Did this person not get sent? These type of things has to always be on your mind. And so uh, that's why what I'm going to talk about today is going to really be instrumental. So I'm going to get to the scripture. This would be entitled Message from Yesaya Part 2. I'm actually going to be doing some hidden gospels that many people aren't familiar with today. Some lost gospels that's going to actually give you more perspective on why they're not in there. Hold on, this thing is just stop this here. This is when it's separated. This is called the first epistle of John. See, we keep trying to tell these Christians there's a whole lot more books out there and scriptures that they don't teach you, because what it does is it erases you. It changes the perspective on who's selected and who isn't, who counts and who doesn't count. They can't indoctrinate you with some other, if they don't take some of the other scriptures out, because then you'll realize they fooled you. Where is it? I'm going to start with, was it Thessalonians? Yes, okay. So First Thessalonians. But of the time and the season, brethren, ye have no need that I write unto you. For yourselves know perfectly the day of Tata nZambi so cometh as a thief in the night. For real. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as travail upon a woman and child, and they shall not escape. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are children of light, and the children of day. We are not of the night, nor of the darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for the helmet of hope and salvation. For Tata nZambi has not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by nKusu Yisu Kongo. Of course, this name did not exist, and this is where the imposter put himself in the scriptures, who died for us. Whether we wake or sleep, we should live together with him. Wherefore comfort yourself together and edify one another, even as also you do. And we beseech you, brethren, to know that which labor among you and are over you in the nFumu and admonish you, and to esteem them very highly in love for their work's sake, and be at peace among yourselves, Kintwari. Now we exhort you, brethren, warn them that are unruly, comfort the feeble-minded, support the weak, be patient toward all Muntu. This is what he said, not men, but Muntu. See that none render evil for evil unto any Muntu, but ever follow that which is good both among yourself and to all Muntu. Rejoice evermore, pray without ceasing, and everything give thanks, for this is the time. For this is the time, the will of Tata nZambi and Yisu concerning you. Quench not the spirit, despise not prophesying. Okay. So we know that there's going to be some leeway on how this was changed from Bantu truth to Rome's interpretation or whatever, and that's why people kind of shove it aside. But there's a lot of truth to it for us. I will say the day of Tata nZambi is going to catch a lot of people sleeping that think they're awake. Why do I say that? Well, part of the reason is because Rome removed the portion of the scriptures where it talked about what would be happening in the last days when the Most High would come. Is they completely removed scriptures that talked about the fact that, or they misinterpreted that the chosen people would once again be scattered among the nations. Okay, that's why when people keep asking where are the lost tribes, because they keep hearing where is the lost tribe, they're not going to ever get a straightforward answer, or they're always going to get a tap dance, because if they tell you the truth, then it exposes the thief, the lie, and then you will be caught off guard, because see, the Most High has designed it specifically that those who choose to be drunk will get blindsided. Okay, this is his doing and his doing only. And the rest of people are just following it according to, and of course, Uzziah is playing a role and others, but the nZambi has made it clear in these things that I've learned that he has done some things that are meant to cause people, to catch people off guard who do choose to still remain drunk and not be sober. Now, does it mean when I say drunk, it's that harlot wine that I'm talking about? But also it means that you allowed your own heart or your own mind to fool you into believing something that may or may not be true. Okay. So one of the things that I learned through Uzziah as Yisu Malongi is there was always the understanding that the Most High's word would become distorted. There was always the understanding that the sheep would be lost. There was always the understanding that people would pretend to be something that they're not, that they would think they would be misled by the sorcerer who would call himself the Messiah. There was the understanding that Esau and all his gods would do everything possible to make sure that when the time came that he would break the yoke of his brother, that he would put enough emphasis on those to not allow a turnaround and to even do everything possible to trip you up at the finish line, as they say, and keep you from crossing into the rest of the Most High because of the strong delusions that would come upon you for your thoughts. When Mayamona was in prison, and I'm sure he talked about his time, and I'm going to speak about that a little bit. One of the things that he was well aware of through the Mwanda is that he was surrounded by people who were Judases, envy, strife, people who were, and this was evident when I even asked this question among one of the Tokuists, why did, because I heard somebody had explained this to me, I said, why did his people think that they were Esau when he came back? Okay. Now, of course, Uzziah, he was well aware of why this happened. And so was the situation where the Kimbanguist people as well were thinking that they were Esau. And in addition to that, the influences of the other beliefs around Angola, Congo, and all the other, what Christianity and other religions were teaching was everything was other than the fact that you were supposed to be a Bantu Bandoi, okay? One of the things that was known is there was going to be another process where, just like how Uzziah and the disciples turned into a huge money-making scheme for the Catholic Church. Because Toko he refused to give his assembly over to Rome, there was always the intent that the sorcerer, because remember he was the one that caused this, in the first place is that he would fight to achieve the goal of insurrection, where all he would need to do is to infiltrate in ways. That's why I said, especially in Africa, for those who have never been and have seen sorcery, witchcraft, they've been in the Philippines and places in Jamaica and even in down south. People see some really strange things. I even saw this video from way back in the days of the 1900s where they saw this crazy creature climbing up and down a church. Okay. So, you know, it's not difficult for the fallen angels to manifest in a way where you don't see what's going on. And so one of the things that I understood is that when Toko was going to be leaving and the Most High knew his time would be up, there was a agenda by the powers that be where they were going to make every effort to run interference for a return of what he said. There will be others like me, and you cannot stop them. Now, because this goes back to Revelation 12:9 when it says the devil shall pursue the woman and their children even after the child of Revelation 12 will be caught up to the throne. So Shaitani has never stopped pursuing the offspring of the woman from the third secret of Fatima and how that spirit is part of our culture. Now, I'm terribly sorry. What Paula is saying here, and of course, many Christians will think, oh, he's talking to us too. No. He is talking to a specific group of people who were given the task of making sure that the gospel remained pure, which it never did. You assume that it did, but it didn't. Okay. He was warning people about imposters at that time that were looking to bring division among the followers. And I told you, Simon the Sorcerer was playing a role in this at the time, among others. Okay. What I was able to understand was when you go back, the Most High talks about how he knew you before the foundation. So we go to Ephesians. Blessed be Tata nZambi, the Tata of our Mfumu Wa Kongo Yisu, who was Bilaka us in nKsu, not Christ. That's the word, but not ours. With every spiritual blessing in the heavenly realm, Zulu. For he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, but to be the holy and blameless in his presence. In love, he predestined us for adoption as his sons. Now, this is where the Christian world has been totally misled. What this is actually saying, the adoption process is where you go from the carnal law to the spiritual law, where you no longer walk in the darkness of the Pharisees, but you are now in the spiritual covenant with Yisu. That's why he said, salvation must come through my people, and the people and my people get the bread. The adoption process is where the Most High no longer sees you as a carnal-minded Bantu. That's why they said there's Bantus and there's a Bantu Bandwe. There's a difference. Okay, so Baklistu. So then the adoption process is you start doing the Most High's way through Yesiah, who was the Sumalongi at that time, And that way is what allowed you to return to the love of the Father. Okay. So the world has assumed through the church and Christianity and all these other things, oh, but this is where I am now part of the body of the real Messiah, when actually the imposter modified the interpretation of the Kikongo through the Aramaic, through the Greek, through the Latin, because that's really how it really was done, to include the Gentiles to be equal, which is never possible. That's the deception, okay? The Gentiles cannot be equal to the people who had the covenants, but they can be brought into salvation with them. And so one of the things that I was able to witness is that that reality does exist like that, for sure. Okay. There's very few Gentiles where they think they ought to be. Guaranteed on that. Okay. The ones that knew, they figured it out. Okay, this is how it really works. They had a role in this, but not the ones who have been led astray, because this religion was not designed to save you. It was designed to control how you think. And that's how it was designed. That's why they took so many other scriptures out, because then you would know who was causing all the problems in this world while they're acting like they don't. Okay. So one of the things that is imperative to know is, first of all, let me see if I can tell you how you say it in Kikongo. Mostly, hopefully the dictionary is accurate. Sorry, this thing. Some people may already know how to say it, but we're gonna, for people who don't know, this is why you're gonna say that Shaitani is really your accuser. And see, the problem how the world's been lied to is he only accuses one group of people, because everybody else he don't care, because they have nothing to do with him. He's not an accuser for Christians. He's an accuser for the 12 kingdoms, 12 tribes, and that's it. The people who are on the covenants accuse. Kufunda. So technically, the correct term for him is well, in this particular point, they say, and this is exactly, this is actually fits me pretty well, because this is exactly what I'm dealing with now. But it says here, like Nehemiah, we too face opposers in the false friends, false accusers, and false brothers. But see, these people, because this comes from the Jehovah's Witness, this ain't got nothing to do with them. He wasn't talking about no Jehovah's Witness. He was talking about the Bana Betu at the time. So Bonso Nehemia Bambene na Betu Mpilenda Banda Banduku Yaluvunu Bantu Ya Kekusilaka Betu Makambu Mpi Mpangi Yaluvunu. Okay. Now, I'm trying to see if they have the way when they talk about the accuser. Okay, so Shaitanis, they know that the word for them is accuser, but kufunda. So what happens, and this is why Isaiah said, and this is why even in they hid this from the legend of the Yaoundé Jews, where it talks about Abana, Abraham, and how he was interacting with the Maliki Kongo Makaya nZambi, they call Michael. And he was able to look down and see people doing things. And he would say, that person that needs to be dealt with. Bam. And so the angel said, okay, I got this. Bam, I'm going to go. Okay. So he did that. This is technically what you endure with our ancestors when he said, Moses will accuse you. Okay, let me give you an example of how you know these people are not telling the truth. Abana and Mosi have nothing to do with the imposters. They only deal with the lineage of their people. Okay, everyone else, for the most part, is dealt with according to what the Most High sees fit, and he turns them over to their gods on how they masquerade, and they're held accountable only. They're held accountable only when they do something wrong against the chosen, and that's when they start getting their issues. Now, of course, the Most High said, "I be like you, that be like you." So there's a process that has to happen. That's why they know. They want to keep blessing us while we keep cursing ourselves. That's how they keep getting the blessings. However, as Tata nZambi will say, what happens to us happens to them. But because they don't tell the truth, people don't know why things are happening to them. We're going to get into how many things are premeditated from the spiritual world that people don't even understand. Okay. One of the things that was made clear to me is the Most High's willingness to check worthiness. That's why nKusu Kongo made it very clear when he told the Abafundi, when you go out to teach this truth, you only go to those who are worthy. If they're not found worthy, you let your peace come back to you. How do you do that? You let your peace fall upon them, because what happens is you're greeting them with peace, salama. Oh, well, that's a spiritual thing. Okay, yenge, let your peace. But see, if they don't go along with it, then there's no more peace with us. There's no peace between us. We gotta go. That means you're now the enemy of the Most High. Now, I'm gonna explain what that means. When you reject, that's why he said, those who reject the love of the truth is worse than them for Sodom and Gomorrah. This is the whole reason why Europe went through 1900 years or more of turmoil, and they're still dealing with stuff right now. You see what's going on in France. This is why you got people who were turning to sorcery for so many generations, despite thinking that they had the Bible. This is why you'll see sorcerers using the Bible and crosses, when they're actually doing conjuring and witchcraft, even in the demonic world. I saw the lady who was showing that whole devil worshiping thing. Nobody paid attention. I saw her with a necklace, and the cross was underneath it with the loop above it to show you that it's the sun god. That they know it's the sun god. Nobody, I said, nobody see that. She got the sun with the cross, and she's showing you this. I worship the sun god, and so do you. You just don't know it. Okay. So it was a way for them, and I know they were putting on a show. That's what they always do, and how I get it. But anyway, so what happens is when you do things against the Most High, then your peace, you will not have peace. That's why Isaiah says there shall be no peace. So how do you, that's why he talked about bringing your children up the way they should so that they will not depart. But then that's also so your house will be in order and the house will be at peace. To where when people come to your house, they will say, oh, wow. And I found this out last year, the energy of the walls. And this is why I know that they needed to bring out these technologies and what they're really doing with it. And why now all of a sudden you're seeing an open invitation that's coming to open portals and unleash. Okay. And it's like, seriously, y'all don't see this. It's ridiculous. Now it's just coming out all over because the dragon understands the more of us that he can trick at the end, okay, the less likely, hold on this thing, let me keep my car. The least likely chance is going to be for you to make it into the kingdom. Okay. So the nZambi has set traps for this to where he thinks that he has got the upper hand, and then the Most High gets him just like that. Oh, I already knew this move. So I was already ready for it. Okay. Because he likes to mess with him. So, I kid you not. He likes to play with him and say, oh, you think you got this? Bam, I got you. That's why I say that those who are masquerading right now, who have actually taken oaths and who think that they're gonna win, I'm like, the Most High likes to do it just like that. Oh, you got it. Oh no, you didn't get it. Aha. Because you didn't pay attention, you knucklehead. That's not how it works. Okay. So Uzziah was well aware that in the end times, the accuser, the Kafunda, would do all he could to bring so many of us to the Most High and say, look at these people. They need to be judged. They need to be given over to me. They need to be brought into prisons. They need to be, and see the intercessor. And this is why it was important for us to learn other people as a Messiah, for them to mess up with us. Okay. Because when you reject Isaiah, then you don't have the intercessor on your behalf. He's just going to let you, like he says, you reject me, it's worse for you than Sodom and Gomorrah. So you're going to start to experience things that are going to mess up your life. And you wonder, well, why did this happen to me? Jesus, what's going on? Jesus, help me, Jesus. Okay. Or whatever you believe or whatever. And what you don't understand is the Holy Spirit is designed to actually be used as a tool to avoid these pitfalls. Okay. That's the whole concept of why the comforter is there, is to be the alarm sounder. Now, let me explain something on that. When you make a decision that Tata nZambi will say, well, no, that's not true. This is what's going to happen here. The Holy Spirit, like I said, will not unblock anything the Most High wants you to think. But will still work for you on your behalf. But if it comes to something that you have already put in your heart, this is how it's going to be, and this is what's going to happen, the Holy Spirit will let you fall into your own way of thinking, to where when it becomes exposed to you that you didn't pay attention, you're gonna be sitting there like with egg. You know, I said the saying with you got egg on your face. You're gonna be like, oh, what the heck was I thinking? You're gonna get embarrassed. Okay. Now I know when it comes to, because see, I always said to myself, okay, so why am I a part of this, and how did I become involved, and what is my role and what I've been doing? And that was what I found out was the whole secret. There's a reason why people don't know things about me and why I didn't understand my purpose as clearly as I wanted to. And then in this time that I had, this happened last year, by the way. So then, it was revealed to me, oh, I get it now. Okay. Because there were things going on behind the curtain of many people that were putting on fronts. And some of these people that were putting on fronts weren't even people. That's why I was like, oh, wow. Okay. And so that's why I started to hear contradictions in what people would say. Or I would start to hear something that didn't quite sound like so. I had things revealed to me even before I came into the Bantu truth that lined up with what I was hearing when I got into the Bantu awakening. And I also was able to understand what was my involvement and what was my purpose for what I was here to do, which was lining up with the job that I was given. Okay. However, there was more to it. And this is where the Most High is getting ready to, um, and I've actually seen this vision, by the way. This is where Tata nZambi says, you're going to see what I did here, um, with with what's going on in the world. See, because what you don't understand is, and I got this, even though other people may not know what your agenda is, the Shaitani does. He says he knows what your involvement, like me, like he said, he already Wa Kongo said he already knew that there were certain things that you were put in motion for a reason, and that's why you became a liability to the system and those who knew your intentions. Okay, because there's a lot of people that know this. Many of us, they know our intentions and they try to stop us from the agenda. Okay, because when Mayamona prayed for the changes to come, okay, the Most High put his plan in motion to what was already prepared. Because he knew Mayamona was going to pray before he even prayed. That's why Isaiah says, your father knows exactly what you're going to ask before you even ask it. Remember, keep that in mind, okay? He always knows before you say anything. And he knew it from the foundation. So it's not like you're going to catch him off guard with your, oh yeah, oh Father, I didn't know you were going to ask me that. No, he knows, okay? That's the whole purpose of not having doubt. That's the whole purpose of when it talks about Psalm 127, where he will give you even blessings while you sleep, okay, that love him. See, that's where people don't understand in the nighttime, you can get revelation, big time revelations that you will now discern, okay, who sent it to me? Is it him or is it, But see, that's where I was taken and shown things. And many times it's like, whoa, okay, I get it now. What's going on here? And see, that's why I started to, that's why people even said that I had spoken with people in this awakening who were learners, they were students of this awakening. And then they would start discussing things with me because they were still a part of some other things that I wasn't actually participating in anymore. And they said, Brother Trey, this is what I'm hearing. Blah, blah, blah. What's your thoughts on that? I said, well, it lines up with what I was revealed to me, that not everybody's doing the right thing. Okay. And, they would say, do you really think you should talk about this, but you got to tread lightly because many people are going to want this out. And I said, oh, I know I have to do it in a certain way that where those who know I know will catch on, but then those who don't, that won't get their feelings hurt because I know what they know, they will start to be more leery of things. Okay. Well, when I started to see exactly what I was up against, is when I said, okay, so this is exactly like what Yosefi was talking about when he was mistreated by his brothers, is that you will be all by yourself by the time this is done. And then people will begin to comprehend certain things. What was the whole reason why? Because like I told people, when I came into the Bantu awakening, I had already started to listen to Bantu songs because I came across a song by way of revelation. I started listening to Bantu music even before Yanata said Kembo, because it was weird because I had gotten a revelation about Africa through a song that I sang. So I was looking for it, or Baba. And the song popped up and some songs popped up. And I was like, man, this sound like Caribbean songs. And then I listened to this one South African song one day and I was like, oh, it hit me. When they started singing Bayet and nKusu, I was like, what is this? I was like, oh, wow. I used to always do the Shaka thing. Bayet and nKusu, Bayet and nKusu. I used to sing that all the time. And I didn't realize that was actually lighting me up, that song. And that's what was causing me to be in danger because that song was like bringing stuff to me when I was younger. And that's what made me start looking at the world like, something is off. I used to sing that song, be a man of kindness now. Bayet. And then when the lady started singing the song, the Zulu, Bayet nKosi yami, I said, oh, you gotta be joking. I said, they played us. Because that's how they were calling upon, it was a Christian song, and that's how they were giving praise to the Most High. Okay. So then the connection was made. Oh, boom. Oh, we know how to sing this already. Okay. Well, then things started to manifest when I listened to, our elder Yaya, Pastor Mello, and other people started talking about stuff. And this brought me to our Yaya, and I started to connect with that. But then, my time in Africa, the purpose of why I was in this awakening became crystal clear, because I started to see some things and I started to hear certain things and I started to see realization of things when I was there. I said, okay, what's wrong with this picture? I just said, what's wrong with this picture? And I kept these things to myself because I was like, okay, I'm getting the gist of why Tata nZambi brought me here and what I was supposed to do when I came back. But I know that there's a reason for why, like I just revealed that I knew in my last teaching, I said, there's now an imposter that shouldn't be where he's supposed to be. There's other people involved with that. It didn't just happen out of the blue. Okay. And that's when I started to say, okay, when these things were shown to me, it was like, you have to wait until it's time to talk about this. Okay. And so, like it says in, let's go to Psalms. This is Psalms 95. For Tata nZambi is a great Mfumu and a great king above all gods. So this is how the world and Christianity and other religions, you know, many of them are fooled to not understand there's other gods out there. So what are they doing? But yet you'll go to science classes and you'll go to all these other things and say, oh no, this is the universe and this is how things work, and you're not understanding there was always other principalities. And people just think they went away because in the name of Jesus, oh yeah, I'm not. I'm telling you, the devil has deceived so many. It's like when you were like the Most High, when you were like the devil, like the Creator, they want to come after you more because they don't want you to expose them to the others. They really want to come after you more, and that's all false spirits, because they have deceived the world as the fact that they are in charge. They were in charge. They're not in charge. They're not. That's why they're ticked off, because they lost. They're losing their charge now. But the flip is here, and then now this is the beginning. This is the process of their worlds coming down systematically. Okay, but they're going with a fight. You know, it's a war. Okay, it says, for Tata nZambi is great. In his hand are the deep places of the earth. In his hand are the deep places of the Ntoto. The strength of the hills is also his. So it's all about him. It starts and ends with Tata nZambi. The sea is his, and he made it, and his hands formed the dry land. So this is what we say. He didn't just speak things into existence like they want to tell you. He made these things with his hands, and so did the Maleki Kongo, and Shaitani was a part of that. Oh, come, let us worship and bow down. Let us kneel before Tata nZambi, our maker. Okay, so this is a Solomon. He's talking to the kingdom of Zulu at the time, the Bana Betu, that this is what we must always do. For he is our Mfumu. So who is he? He is our Mfumu, meaning he specifically favors this group of people. Because the other nations, this is why there's a difference. The other nations rejected him, and so he is not their Mfumu. This is where the world has been lied to for so many years. Is the nations rejected him, but he had a chosen people that in covenants that he is our Mfumu. He was never the nation's God anymore, because they wanted to be with the devil. That's why they were worshiping pagan gods. Okay. And we are the people of his pasture and the sheep of his hand. Today we will hear his voice. Today, if ye will hear his voice. Okay. That's why the Bantu people, the Wa Kongo, the Bana nZambi, the Beni Isolele, we are his sheep. Nobody else belongs. This is what we're trying to tell people. These people were always his sheep. Nobody else but us were his sheep. The world has been lied to for generations. That's why it was saying, my sheep have been scattered by false shepherds. And I have seen this, and we're still being scattered by false shepherds. Like I said, you have people calling themselves um, specific types of people, saying that they are this person or that person or whatever. And then you get a revelation like I have gotten, and it was like, whoa, this person is the complete opposite because they're using another spirit. It's like, yeah. So you have to be careful what these people are telling and who they are, because for one, they could be a fallen angel masquerading as that person. It's like, okay, that's a fallen angel right there. Yeah. Okay. And that's why Tata nZambi is this is why he has done some things in preparation to prepare for this long time ago. And see, soon and very soon, when the veil comes off, you're going to see the mouthpiece that's talking to you. Okay. And in my case, I know that there will become, I'm looking forward to this, the complete removal, like it did in the Wiz. Now that this power is going to be gone, I'll finally get rid of this garbage. Some of us are going to be like that because the wheat and the tares are still struggling together. Harden not your heart as in the provocation and as the day of temptation in the wilderness. When your fathers tempted me, proved me, and saw my work. Yeah, they saw it all right. You jacked them up. 40 years long was I grieved for this generation and said, it is the people that do not err in their heart, and they have not known my ways. So this is why we're trying to tell people there's a specific way that has to be done. And it requires your heart to not be hardened. This is how you learn. This is the only way you can learn. Unto whom I swear in my wrath that they should not enter my rest. So this is what you have to understand. When your heart is not circumcised, you're not going anywhere. This is what the Messiah was trying to tell people. This is what the prophets were trying to say. If your heart's not circumcised, you're not coming to the Most High. And this is even, and what it means is he's not specifically talking about any other generation of people but his people that are in covenants. Okay? So when we go to Hebrew, which is really Bana Betu, Wa Kongo, nZambi, it wasn't called no Hebrew, it's Bantu. Do not harden your hearts. I'm going to tell you one of the things that allowed me to see how you harden your heart is when you start to act like the brothers who put you into iniquity. Okay. That was all about jealousy because he saw things that they didn't know. And he said, wait, and that's why, one of my brothers said, be careful because then when you say certain things, not everybody's going to receive it and they're going to want to be, wish harm upon you. Okay. This is why when I first when I got these revelations, it's like, it's not time to say it yet because there are going to be people who want to bring harm upon you because they're going to feel really jealous that you got to experience something that most people don't get. Okay. But now the Most High said it's time because um, our people there's too many people that's being devoured by wolves. Okay. But this was expected because the Most High, one of the things one of the things that the Most High wants for his children is the voice is one thing. And two, do you see who's really talking to you? Because not everybody was worthy of what Toko, even Toko himself said, not all of you are worthy of what I'm teaching. So he had to be just like he did. He would discern the worthiness. And there was jealousy for those who didn't get to know the secrets. Okay? Well, that didn't stop after he was gone. You had some Simon the Sorcerer people that were like, hey, we're not happy with this. Why do you know? Why is he talking to you? He's not talking to us, type of thing. Okay. And so that's where you can start to get like what happened after Kimbongo left. Why is Kimbongo has sleep? They say he's sleeping with one eye open. Well, what is he doing? He's checking to see what's going on. Okay. So I swore on my oath and my anger, they shall never enter my rest. So to it, brothers, that none of you has a wicked heart of unbelief that turns away from the living nKusu. When he says unbelief, this is where people don't understand because they're not getting the right interpretation. What he's saying is, when the Most High says something, or when you have to do his will, this is when Kepa Toma had the problem with Uzziah when he said, why do you doubt? Okay. When the Most High wants you to do his work, okay, you don't want to put yourself in a position where your heart says, gets frustrated because somebody's work or what somebody is doing, okay, is different than yours. So your unbelief becomes, your heart becomes wicked and your unbelief because you're not believing that the Most High has made a decision about different people. This is what was always the issue with Bana Betu that caused us to be scattered in the first place. Arguing over, you know, what we're supposed to believe and what we're not supposed to believe, what instructions the Most High gives versus the instructions he didn't give, who's supposed to be running the show versus who's not supposed to be running the show. Okay, that's what he's saying, is that many people, it's not about an unbelief necessarily in the Messiah. This is what Christianity has been taught backwards. No, because it doesn't have anything to do with them anyway. That's the problem. Okay. It's the Makanda. Okay. It's like, let me give an example. Your parents, they put together a chores list, right? Each person has a job to do. You don't like the fact that, okay, on Tuesday, but you like to go play video games or you like to do something different. So you switch, you say, oh, I want to switch days because I want to do something else. But your parents are telling you, no, this is how I want it. We want it for a reason. We did this like it for a reason. Okay. So then in your heart of hearts, you get frustrated, like, you know what, I really don't want to do this. So I'm gonna trick my sister or my brother into saying that mom and dad switched it. Okay. When in reality they didn't, right? So then you trick your brother to say, "Oh, the Most High, your mom and dad said you supposed to go do this," and this is what like Nehemiah went through with people who were talking. And he's like, "Wait a minute, I just talked to the Most High." He said, and you know your parents just said, you heard your parents say, "No." That I know specifically, mom and dad said they wanted you to do it and not me. Okay, so what has happened is you have chosen not to believe in the instructions of the father or the parents So now your heart has become turned away from their authority because you don't like what has been done. Okay. This was always the problem, where they used this against ourselves when they saw us. It's like a person told me, no, that tribalism existed. I said, no, it's still a spirit. I said, I said, tribalism is caused, or our, like I said, Uganda, our arguments were caused because we didn't like that certain, like, it's like when Paula said, some of us are teachers, some of us are apostles, some of us are, everybody has a specific position. And it's like, well, no, I want that. Like I said, children fighting. No, why does he get to be that and I gotta be this? Okay. That's why King Kongo, Tata nZambi saying, if you are not accepting in your heart of hearts what a person has been instructed, okay, and then you start to think wickedly, and you have, your heart turns to bitterness, and you start to have hatred towards your brother. That's why Isaiah said, if you hate your brother in spirit, you're also killing them in the flesh. Okay. That's where the Most High is very much going to bring wrath in ways that you may not even recognize it. And all of a sudden you're trying to figure out, what did I do to make the Most High angry? Okay. And that's part of the reason why so many people don't know that this is how the world has tricked us to use our power against us without even knowing that we're doing it. Because the rest of the people don't have a clue. They just been told, they said, oh, the society runs like this and this is how it goes. And your pastors and everything are designed to actually keep it like that. They're not telling you the full truth. And this is why you see bickering in the church, or you see bickering among a lot of people. Okay. Because you're praying to the wrong God. That's part of it. And two, okay, you have not circumcised your heart like you think you have. And this is something that was found out in a revelation that was given to me last year. Oh wow, okay. This person hadn't forgiven. Oh, and when you find out that there's something in there that you didn't let go, oh, it hits you, especially if it's ruined your whole life. Okay. Now, once again, I'm going to go to the Gospel of Judas, and he's going to actually make this point with the Abafundi when he says nKusu Kongo is not Jesus. Yisu, Mfumu Yisu criticizes the Abafundi, the disciple. He said, this is why he said, when he appeared on earth, he did signs and great wonders for the salvation of humanity. Okay. Asterisks on that. The human, okay, he's referring to are those that the Most High favors. That's why he said, we keep trying to tell people, the Most High don't love everybody, but Esau gonna make you think that he does. Some walk in the way of righteousness, but others walk in their own transgressions. See there? The way of righteousness cannot be determined by Gentiles because they never walked in it. Okay. Now, there are those who are aware of it that may try to walk in it, but you have to have a Bantu, where Bantu Bandwe leading you. That's what the Messiah said. Salvation comes to the Yaoundé, and they're supposed to be leading the church, the assemblies. That's why the devil tricked everybody. No, anybody can run it. No, he didn't say that. Okay. That's why Toko was the problem, because he was showing them, no, these people are not, they're worshiping Esau. They don't even know. I mean, Nimrod. This is how ignorant they are. While others walk in their transgressions. So the 12 disciples were called. He started, and see, when you walk in the transgressions, what that means is your intention is to be defiant of the Creator's laws. So it's not like, like in my case, I'm trying my best to fight the temptations of breaking the law. Do I always win? No, but I'm trying my best not to. This is talking about people who, in their own heart, they feel that they don't transgress. They're doing it the right way. I know what I'm doing. Don't tell me nothing. I know, I know, I know. Really? Watch what's going to happen. If you know, then you're going to see how much you don't know when you don't allow yourself to be learn always. And this is why the world has been given over to another Messiah and don't know it. Okay. Because they think they know, their arrogance says, oh, we know. Our pastor taught us this, we know these things. It's like, look, you think that Bible is the whole world of the Creator, you are under the wine of the harlot. But they no. That's why I'm reading this. Oh, how did he write it if he was killed or whatever? You don't even know how this happened. There's a lot to it. Often he didn't reveal himself. Often he didn't reveal himself. Abafundi, but find him in the midst as a child. But you'd find him in their midst as a child. So sometimes, see, why I'm teaching you this is that sometimes the Messiah will be discreet around people. And the spirit, when he comes around, you don't even know he's there. So he's checking. Oh, who's doing what? How you do? What's going on? Are you really doing my way, or are you just doing yours? Okay, he's checking. See, a lot of people don't know that he's actually doing this. Okay. One day, he was with his Abafundi Yundi. He found them sitting together, practicing their piety. When he came, sitting together, praying over the bread, he laughed. So I said, Master, why are you laughing at our prayer? What have we done and what's right? He answered, I'm not laughing at you. You're not doing this because you want to, but because through Tata nZambi, because this your Mfumu will be praised. So he was laughing because he was ecstatic that they were doing it right. And so he was excited about it. Okay. They said, Master, you are the Bana Betu. You are the Bana of our God. Now watch this. And see, this is the thing that you got to understand. Well, so are you. He said, how do you know me? Truly I say to you, no generation of the people among you will know me. See, he's showing you there's a way that you don't really know who he is. Okay? And see, if they really knew him, they would know who they are. That's why the Messiah says, if you really know him, then you know who you are. And this is the deception that's being brought upon the world, even now. When his Abapuni heard this, they started to get angry and fierce and started to curse him in their hearts. Oh, wait a minute. This is why people want to reject this. Is like his own disciples started to curse him and get angry. Okay. But when Isaiah noticed their ignorance, he said to them, why are you letting your anger trouble you? Has your nKusu within you and it started become angry with your souls? If any of you is strong enough among human to bring out the perfect humanity, stand up and face me. See? I said we're strong enough, but their spirits weren't brave enough to stand before him, except when the Iscariot. He was able to stand before him, but he couldn't look him in the eyes, so he looked away. Yonde said, I know who you are and where you come from. You come from the immortal realm of Barbelo, and I'm not worthy to utter the name of the one who sent you. Yonde said that he was knowing, exalted, and said, come away from the others, and I'll tell you the mysteries of the kingdom. Not so that you'll be there, you'll get there, but you'll grieve much because someone else will replace you to complete before their nKusu. So you can still be, you're not gonna, when he's talking about the kingdom, he's talking about the Pemba Kalunga, way up high, because there's different levels. You just say, when will you tell me these things, and when will the great day of light for the generation? Okay, now listen. When he talks about another generation, and this is the time frame he's talking about, by the way. The next morning he appeared to his Abafuni and said, Master, where did you go and what did you do when you left us? Isaiah said, I went to another great and holy generation. And his Abafuni said, nKusu, what great generation is better than and holier than us? That's not in these realms. Now, when Isaiah heard this, he laughed and said, why are you wondering in your hearts about the strong and holy generation? Truly, I say to you, no one born of this realm will see that generation. No army of angels from the stars will rule over it, and no person of mortal birth will be able to join it, because that generation doesn't come from, that has become the generation, and of course there's stuff missing. And the generation the people among is from the generation of the great people, the powerful authorities who was rule. When the Abafuni heard that they were troubled in their spirit, they couldn't say a thing. Now, who do you think he's talking about? Who in the world would this be referring to? Okay. This has to come with a generation that has to be purified, that has to be made holy, especially when you look at the days that's happening now. And it says, no angel will rule over them. Why would that be? Because these people will be above, and no person of mortal birth will be able to join it. So you have to be born spiritually. When do you think that will start to happen? That will have to happen after the Most High fixes the earth. Everything has to be renewed. That will be when the people who now run the earth are with the Most High in spirit, not in this flesh. So he's going all the way to when the world will be over and we are in the rest. And we were changed to be there when the dead rise, and no one is, and there will be no, and the wicked will be done away with. This is why it's so important to understand, okay, that there's more to what they've been learning than what people know, because I have actually seen a lot of this right here, where it's like, no, we cannot be the generation that the Most High will rule over, first of all, we cannot be anymore in the flesh the way this world has given it to us. It has to go away. Two, the generation following that will not be born from the people who come from the world of sin. There will be no more like that. Okay. And that's why for people who come from an environment where sinning is rampant and their mindset is they think they got it made and they're holy when they're clueless to what they really know is going on today, it's like there's no way you're going to be a part of this. That's why in the days, and this is why we're saying you're thinking like the people who were in the days of Noah. They think they had it. They think that they were going to be, doing things their way, and nothing was going to happen to them. And Tata nZambi's like, that's not possible. Okay, sorry. So now we go, and it's getting kind of long on this. The letter of Kepa to Pilipi. Okay. I want to get to the part where he was talking about something. Okay, so this is a prayer that they did. All right. Now, when the messengers had gathered and fell down to their knees, they prayed. And I know they're going to say, Creator, Creator. They're going to say, Tata nZambi, Tata nZambi, Tata nZambi of light. Possessor of virtues, hear us on behalf of your being pleased with your holy representatives, Yisu. This is what nKusu Wa Kongo means, the anointed one of truth, Yisu, Messiah. Because he illuminated us who were in darkness, please hear us. So people don't understand to be illuminated from this is like I said, this is where your eyes will change, your whole perspective will become more aware. You're going to come into an understanding of the world. Confusion of the world will no longer be, because you will understand why the world is the way it is. If you don't understand why the world is the way it is, you don't know the Most High. Period. You don't know him. You're not going to be in confusion about why things are the way they are. Now it makes everything, to me, makes perfect sense. Because, one of the things that I had questions about the whole thing about Toko, the followers and everything. And I was like, there was just something that was off about where's everybody else in this? Like, why didn't, to me, it was like, there should be more. But that became very clear to me what happened. And it's even fun. It was so, it explained why I even had an issue with something that happened before I went to Africa, that to this day, that still didn't make any sense. And like, now it does. It's like, if we're trying to promote him, well, I won't get into that. It didn't make any sense to me. But it had to do with an altercation that was dealing with our elder and something else that happened. Give us authority because they want to kill us. Now see, representative of life, representative of mortality, who exists within the light, the representative anointed by the eternal or redeemer, give us authority because they want to kill us. Okay? Like we keep trying to tell people, this is how you know you're in a false belief. Because when you're in the true belief, the world will want to destroy you. They won't want to be one. They're going to want to come after you. They're going to see you as the enemy when you expose what they believe. And the voice came forth saying, receive these words I'm speaking to you. What do you ask? I am nKusu Wa Kongo, the anointed of Tata nZambi, who will be with you eternally. Then the messengers replied, saying, Master, we would like to understand what is the defect or this lifetime and how is it corrected? Now pay attention. And how has it became confined within the abode? Furthermore, how did we arrive in this place and how will we leave it? And how did we gain the power of courage? And why did the authorities fight against us? Then a voice came to them from the light said, you yourselves are witnesses that I told you all these things. So when you are tatoli, okay, nZambi or tatoli nKusu Kongo, Yisu, okay, do you see what they're talking about? Why, how do we correct this? How do we do these things? And he's saying, look, but due to your unbelief, I will tell you again. So they obviously, these are his abafundi. First, regarding the defect of his lifetime, this is the defect. Now watch. Wikijila. It occurred with the disobedience and foolishness of the mother, abandoning the instruction of the majesty of the creator. She wanted to create eternal lifetimes, and when she spoke, the arrogant one followed. Now, who do you think he's talking about? This is the very first woman, by the way. So it came with, this is why I keep trying to tell you, the foolishness of the harlot started all of the defects. And then Eva, who came to rectify her position with Adama, she then followed the same defect. Disobedience and foolishness of the instruction of the majesty, because the Most High said, don't eat the fruit. But of course, we know who really gave her the poison apple comes from both Shaitani and Lilith, the witch, because they changed the whole concept of the apple because they took away the first woman from there. Okay. And so the arrogant one followed. What's he saying? He calling Adama arrogant. Why? Because he didn't bother to check. He thought he was high enough that he didn't need to ask the Most High. This is why you got to be careful. He learned from Tata Adama. Don't just go and believe that it's when his wife said, oh, this food is good to eat and nothing's going to happen to us. Because the snake said, oh, yeah, you know, and that's why he's calling Adama arrogant, because it's like, hey, who are you to question the Most High's law? Okay? That's the issue here. If we question what Tata nZambi wants, you become arrogant to him. Okay, then I'm going to show you how this works. When King Kongo, that's how the world has become in general. Look at the leaders of this world. They're so arrogant, they think that they can do everything, and they standing up there like we running the show. Arrogance begets arrogance, begets arrogance, and this is why the world is stupid now, as to not even realize that they have been played. The arrogant people, this is why you don't know what God you serve, because your arrogance didn't bother to check. Is what I'm learning correct? And see, when you then show this to people, their arrogance will say, I don't see nothing wrong with what I'm doing because this is how I'm living and this is what's going on. But that doesn't mean you're doing the way of the Most High. Just because of how you're living doesn't mean it's his way. Okay? And when she left behind a portion, the arrogant one took it and became a defect. So this is what he's trying to show you. This is where the defect started. His job was to what? Fix it, the defect. When the arrogant one took it, and he wrapped it within the mortal lifetime is, then all the powers of the material world were glad they had been begotten. Why? Because the mortal world, the material world, will always favor what? Desire. Okay. See, they don't put this one in the Bible because I'm going to tell you right now, it's going to show you that when you do mortal things and not immortal things, then the mortal world will be glad that you are there. Okay. But they don't know the eternal creator who exists eternally since they are foreign to him. This is why you must worship Tata nZambi in spirit and in truth. And at the same time, do not allow your heart to become what? Hardened, because then you go back to being what? Reprobate minded, like the world, thinking your own thoughts and not the Most High's thoughts. And then you start to become what? Foolish in what you say and ignorant to what you're saying. Okay. Then you become like Adama again. Oh, I'm going to do it this way because this is what I feel like. This is my problem too. You can be, that's why they say people who do lustful things are arrogant. You're being selfish. There's a selfishness to you. And it doesn't have to necessarily be um, sex related. It could be whatever you want. Oh, I want to buy that. Just being selfish. You're not thinking about how this is going to impact others. This is what they did to this world. They made you selfish and arrogant of your own ways. Thus they came into existence through a fabrication of the likeness. Next, okay, and I got to end it after this because I don't want to go on too long, so I have to do a part 2. Next, regarding all the completion, I am the one who was sent down to be in the body because of generation that had fallen away. So I came down into the mortal mode, but they did not recognize me. They were thinking that I was a mortal. They were thinking that I was a mortal man. This is going to get interesting. Then I taught one who followed me, and he called on me, just as all of you have called me today. Then I gave him authority so that he might be able to enter into the inheritance of his creator. Then I brought him, filled him, and provided him salvation. Since he was defective, he became corrected. Regarding the nature of your being detained, it is because you are my followers. When you remove what is corrupt from yourselves, you will become luminaries of the midst of the mortal Muntu men. And this is why you fight against the authorities, because they don't have peace like you have, and they don't want you to be saved. Bam. Okay. This is why Rome don't want you to read this scripture. They don't want you to see that. It's out there, but it's not taught. Most people probably, and you need the Mwanda to explain it because the Mwanda is flowing like this. Okay, yeah. So now, they thought when he came into they didn't recognize him in the mortal mode. This is why people were asking, who are you? Where did you come from? Toko had the same thing going on with him. Okay. What is being said? And this is the whole reason why the Most High has to tell his nation, I remember your sins no more. This is why you have to come out of the harlot. See, because the world has been harlotized and hypnotized and drunk with the wine of her fornication. Okay? So you become defective. This is why he talked about, and if you don't need a doctor, if you're already well, you don't need a doctor. What does that mean? You already understand what you're supposed to do and live in the way, so you are not defective. He said, I came for those who need correction and are sick and need the removal of their defect. This is why when you go later on, and this is where many of us are struggling in this world, is we keep we're falling back into our defect because the system is tricking you into falling into it for the people who have who are really masqueraders. And so what is now happening, especially in this time, is the devil is trying to make sure that you never come out of your defect. And how did he do that? He infiltrated everywhere, and he tries to steal the bride all over again, because he doesn't want to see the purification of the Malawi, the Levites. He doesn't want to see the tribe of Yaoundé come to fight him. He doesn't want all this stuff. So many people have even been set up by those that are using them to infiltrate the people that need to be saved. They can remove their defect. Okay? This is why I told you, if you have already committed through an oath, or you have committed through any type of sorcery with a demon or any type of false spirit that's not of the Most High, this puts you at risk to fixing your defect. Okay? That's why he says, okay, you will always be, that's why you cannot have peace unless your defect is removed. Now, here's the problem. As I was able to witness this, there are people who will tell you, and I'm not saying this, I'm just saying across the board. I've talked to other groups of people. I've talked to different people on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Okay, they will come across like that defect is gone. Here's where Satan rigged the game against us. The defect can only be removed by fulfilling the Most High's law, in which you say, well, the Messiah fulfilled it, so I'm good. No, that's not necessarily true. He will never break the Father's law. So this is where the devil rigged it against us, to where if you don't know the proper way to remove a defect, then you have to wait until the Creator shows you what to do, or the next phase that's coming. My bride is a whore, still a whore. Yes, there are many of us who are returning to Tata nZambi and understanding his way, but this has to happen as a nation. Get this very clear, because see, this is the deception. It's not the church is the nation. The remnant of the nation is the church of the Most High that brings the other nations to their salvation, which is the way it was supposed to be from the beginning. And it was the way it was supposed to be 500 years ago when we walked out the door and said, no, we don't agree, or we want to go this way, because the world's already bewitched. They think they have the right way. They don't. They're clueless about the Bantu binary, that there's certain things that you have to do that's not in the Bible that teaches you how to get rid of certain things. And that you can't just cast out every demon in the name of Jesus. Even he said so. You got to go do something to do that. They have instructions to follow. Okay. That's why when I'm saying when you remove what's corrupt from yourselves, you become, now when, in order to remove what's corrupt from yourself, you must know how. And he did not do, like I said, he didn't do it in his name. And this is why it said, when the messengers, master, tell us, how can we fight the chief priests, since the chief priests are above us? Now listen, this is what the Sanhedrin don't want people to know, and also other people. the people who are like that think that they're not connected to Yesiah. For the chief priests are fighting against the person within, so you can fight against them in this manner. Gather together and preach to the world the salvation of devotion. Then you can gird them yourself with the power to the nZambi and put forth the first. Then he will now see this is our mistake. This is where Satan tricked everybody. He knew that this is how you would get rid of the problem of the people that were benefiting from our what? Sins. If you get the world to go in the way of the Most High, then you will be rid of the people who are controlling the world. Okay. Well, this is what we were supposed to do when the Kingdom of Congo was established. We were to get our act together that the whole world was deceived by, and start preaching the right way, so that the world would start to understand you're clueless. We were supposed to be the example that they should follow, not the other way around. The Bantu way, the Baklistu Kingunza that Isaiah taught, that many of the other ancestors taught prior to that, was supposed to be how you follow the law. The Spirit guides you. You cannot be just carnal. The Spirit has to be there. Okay? This is where we lost the power because we were tricked into thinking there was another way when there wasn't. We already had it because we argued against the Most High, so he got tired of it. So, like he says, they're fighting against the what? The inner man, the inner Muntu. So that's why the inner Muntu, has to be more powerful than the outer. Okay. And the only way to do that is through the obedience of your work, not just and your knowledge to know the work of the Most High, what the tools he's going to provide for you, listening, learning. And see, one of the things that Tata nZambi I have learned that he's done is when he selects people to teach his way. And Yesiah is also involved in this. You're being monitored for the people that are coming to people in ways you don't even know. People are being monitored. And it's like you don't even know who was sent to you. Who's in front of me? Sometimes you will know, sometimes you will not. Because the Most High wants to see, how do you treat these people? See, I was a teacher. I know these things. Okay? Where you're shown not just to see the child that's sitting in front of you, but to see the child inside. What's going on with this, especially if they're having problems. Okay. This is what was the whole point of going to a Gangan Zombie or nKusu. Their whole purpose is to give you the answer to what's causing the problem. You rectify it, and then you go and do your work better than you before. So that way you're removing the defects. Now, if people are in a position where they're lacking because of, for whatever reason, things are happening that others aren't willing to do certain things, that impedes that person's ability to continue. That's why Yesiah, in my encounter with him, he said, I am looking to see who is doing what they were called and asked for. I am observing them because even, like I said, Mayamona knew there were going to be people in the future that would corrupt what he taught. They made everything about all of the things that he did. Like I said, you must be like him more than just honor what he did. Okay. You must be like Isaiah. Don't just pay attention to what he did. You must also do the things. Okay. However, instructions must be what? Done according to what the Most High wants and not according to what other people feel they should be doing. That's why when I had this encounter, that's why the Most High said, for now, don't let people know that you are aware who's doing what and who's not doing what. Now the Most High said, it's time to set the record straight. There are people that are saying that I said something and I didn't. And there are people who are teaching things that they say I said to teach when I didn't. And there are people who are also saying that they are something that they're not. I didn't approve it. This is why there were warnings that were given out through many of my teachings. At the same time, there were people who were sent to be taught to different people, and they didn't even know who was sitting in front of them for a reason. Okay? And the Most High is now going to raise that. This is why I'm doing this video. It's like, I didn't know who was with me while I was in these teachings. And now I know who was there with me inside of me. And when the people are going to say, there's a person in this awakening, and I understand, it caused some friction, but there were certain people who were making the connection. I talked to a sister, she said it. I said, she said, I kind of figured that there was something different about you and what your agenda was. Because the Wanda was saying, you need to pick. That's why I kept saying, don't put anybody in Uzziah's place. Because, see, he is removing the defect. And he sent others to help him to do the same. That was the point of teaching them what to do. This is how you remove these defects. But if the environment becomes corrupted, where people are doing it for the wrong reasons, like he says, if you become a worker of iniquity, then the defects don't get removed right. And you can actually attach more problems to people. And this was the whole agenda of what the dragon had intended to do. And the Most High said, I have the antidote to that. Watch what's going to happen. I knew he was going to try to add more defects, and instead of making them taken away. And there was a brother, he gave that secret, is that people with power, you don't know what deals they have made to get that power, and you assume it's coming from the Wanda. And this is how your enemies and this is how things can be revealed to you when there's actually people okay, well, I'm well aware of that. And I know that there's people that's doing this. Okay? And that's why Wa Kongo has said, now I will bring this to light. that I was watching everybody, and you didn't even know who I was watching you through and who was in the midst at the time that you were teaching or that you were talking to. You didn't even know who was there. And now the Most High said they will see who was in the midst. All right. Sambulolo, Zolokwingi, Inawezi Yave Kongo Kutwala. And like I said, people, this is why I don't take anything for granted with the Most High, because I don't know if somebody comes talking to me, you could be somebody, this is a significant person here. They need to know what I'm talking about. Because I know the dragons, like I said, the dragon knows and he's well aware of what took place. Because it's like, wait a minute. I don't want people to know that now the truth will come out how these things work and who's involved. Because there's a lot of people, man, oh, wow, that are under the puppet spells. You have no idea. And many of these people are still in this awakening. You think they're not under the puppet spell, and they are. And it's like, and I'm fighting these puppet spells every day because they're all over. That's why those who become your enemy become agents of the matrix or of the people who hate you. That's what happened to Yosephu. Everybody, including the world, was turned against him and his family. That's why even Potiphar's wife tried to trick him up. Okay. And that's the whole point. They want to destroy those and corrupt those who the Most High has chosen to bring out the real truth. And soon that purification will happen. And you're going to see that the attempts, because there's an attempt to capture the people who can be purified and keep them corrupted. Watch what's going to happen. Ingita Sambulolo, Bayete nKusu, Inawezi Yave Kongo Kutwala, Ingita.